for a while. That's him, lads, that's him. Watch up, champ. John Willie. Water's dropping, I'd say it dropped about 4 inches since I got here. But there's been heavy showers, they bring it back up. There's a lot of rain, like the sky's black back that way. So, and there's a lot of heavy rain due in. A couple of hours of heavy rain is all you need when this is in flood to bring it up. I'd like to see it coming up about another, a bank up, we will go straight. Oh, she got me! That's the bro coming out and having lunch. He's working there, so I can call in and have his lunch. I know. Watch this, lads. I knew when I hit, I said there's holding weight and it's coming towards me, so it's strange this is. What did I have to hook it, boys? Lastly, I know for the crack. Look what I've after for. There's dirty spring fish you'll be getting out of this river, boys. Look on my mother's life, lads. We haven't to get it. There we go. A rockfish. Rare these days now, the rockfish. Let me tell you, I was talking to Joseph Bennett yesterday out here, or the day before. There was a bit of a flood and he was telling me, like Joseph's fishing here all his life. I know Joseph is so many child man got many salmon here in Annacotty. But he said on and off for the last 4 to 5 years, didn't see fish, meet a fish, nothing. So that man there now, boys, that's Joseph Bennett, boys, fishing this river a long time. He was saying to me, the best year he ever remembered out there was in 1988. He was saying, you remember it now, you were out there, you and your father. We were just chatting, he was saying, I do. And he goes, I'll be with you there. He said there'll be 25, 30 fishermen out here fishing. Boom! Yeah, motherfuckers. So yeah, so Josie has a lot of photos of the way Annacotty used to be. Trust me, this was a majestic fishery. Built by the fishermen, we all started this out back in the 80s. My father and all the old fishermen. I'll put their names in the video when I do this video. But this is, you can keep an eye out for it when I do it. Josie all photos of fishing down through the years. Annacotty when it was majestic. Over there on the Nuns Wall, you walk, there was no tree stuck to the wall, the water ran the whole way down along the way. There was a wall out here, then the river stayed higher. I'll show you in the photos, majestic, the fishermen had it was like a slice of paradise, as the brother says to me, a slice of paradise. Black. So I put the video together when I do, I'll show you. 4th of February. You see the spring fish come up there, good salmon now, you know what I mean, 15, 17 pound salmon, average 10, 12, but you get 15, 17, 20, 21, 22 pound salmon. And they come up there in February and March. And then in April, the salmon would still come and April flyers would come. And they'd be at 7 to 10 pound weight, balls of silver like little tuna. They come up in April. And in May, where we are now, by now, the 10th or 11th of May, you start seeing the lampreys and the first signs of pale it'd be on it. And then you'll have pale, runs of pale in May and June, fantastic runs, lads. And then you'll have summer salmon running with them in June and July. You'll have runs in July, August. Alright, the fish will get sour in July and August, they're pairing off, but you still have fresh fish coming in to constantly stock in the river. Even up to September you'll have fresh fish coming. That's what you used to have, like. And now all you get is there's no sign of a spring fish, there is no sign of an April flyer, none, zero, right? The pail then have went from 7 pound pail down to 3 and 4 pound pail. Because the nets out in the ocean, the gauges keep getting smaller, the fish can't get through. I said it before, I'll say it again, any fish you get over 4 pound did not cross the net, because if he did, he wouldn't be in the river. So the nets out in the sea have stripped the ocean bare of its natural resources. That's stopping the fish then making it up the river. They have a cheek in to blame the fisherman with a rod, give him one hook, stop them using worms, putting the children, because they know if you don't use worms and you're not allowed to use worms, then the children can't go fishing. Because when you're a child, the first thing you learn how to fish with is worms. What's a child supposed to do now? Learn how to use a spinning rod and learn how to use flies. You know, you get them into fishing by letting them catch little bits of things with the worms. That's how they become the love of fishing. You get hooked on fishing. So they're deliberately trying to push the children off the river. So in the future, because they always think long term, you might think this year, next year, the greater powers that be, they think 10 years, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. They're thinking there will be no fishermen left. The law will have given up on it, will make it so difficult for them. You can't light a fire and make tea by the river, which wouldn't stop me. You're not allowed to use worms. You can't do this. You can't cut back any trees, which wouldn't stop me. You can't do... There's a lot of things you're not supposed to do in this world, right? It's little robots they want us to be. Then the children don't want to go fishing. So that's the way to get the new future generation off the river. Make it so difficult they won't want to go. And then in 10 years, 20 years from now, privatise it and turn it back to the way it was when we originally had it sorted out here in the 80s. I'll show you the photos one of the days when I get them off of Josie Bennett. So, boom! There are trawlers out in the ocean and the IFI, they're not doing much better. Alright, checking a man's licence, yeah, fair enough, you check a man's licence. What about maintaining the river? The fishermen back in the day, we'd have weirs, we'd know which rocks needed to be put where to make the water flow best, that suited the river the best way. And then they come on and just tore down the old weir, fucked up this weir, that suits, not, it doesn't suit the fish. They put in all this stuff here then. What's that got to do with helping salmon? People do come down here, I don't mind people come down sitting down, but there throws a lot of rubbish in around here, gets thrown. I often come in with my own children and picked it up in bags and took it away. But there was a lovely wall coming from there. All the fishermen built it. As I said, I was here myself doing it. I was a child. There was a salmon plastered on there by a man called Eddie Reddy. And the wall came out there and it swung off down around there, and it was all low golf puck grass and one tree down there with hang our gear up, and it was fantastic, right? Fantastic. Photos from the 80s, the early 80s and earlier, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and Josie has them from the 80s upwards. So I can show you in real time a photo I can hold like that and say that's the way it was and this is the way it didn't pull it down to show the way they have it now. All over there, that Nuns Wall is called. There wasn't one tree sticking out of that wall the whole way down. That water went back to that wall. You look, think about what's out in the ocean. Out in the ocean you can have one ship in an ocean, one out of tens of thousands of ships that's out there, floating factories. They can scoop up 10,000 salmon in one scoop. They can bag them, tag them, skin them and tin them and have them on the shelves as fast as you can wipe your ass, literally, right? That's how fast they go, from 10,000 living fish in an ocean. Within an hour, they're freezed and in a tin and on a shelf and wrapped in cling film and stacked in boxes and ready to be sailed into shore and sold on the market. Right, that's what they're doing. And they come on and blame you then with the fishing rod. And that's why I say, if you wipe the salmon out at the sea with your floating factories, then they cannot get up the river to spawn. And if the IFI come in and start cutting trees back, and bad river management, dropping weirs, the summer comes, the water heats up, the algae builds up, it's hard for the salmon to survive, it's even harder for the salmon fry to survive. They're cutting back trees where they shouldn't be. There's parts of that river up there where there's trees hanging across it, blocking the whole river in places. Up along it. That log is stuck there since last September I was out here, that was there. And it's still there. So we're going to have to cut that out. If I know that's there, they didn't do nothing, I'm going to come out with a saw, cut it and a rope, me and a few more fishermen, and we're going to pull it out and clear it away. That's what we're going to do. Like fishermen used to. See, real fishermen care for the river. They try to give you the illusion, oh, fishermen don't give a shit about the river, they're only out there stripping it of its resources. What do you mean? stripping of its resources. A family day's outing is what it is. Out doing having an enjoyable hobby. Would you rather people in the pub? You would. And sitting down looking into the fucking TV all day, listening to the propaganda, you would. And listen to the fake news. And listen to the radio pumping out fake news every 15 minutes. Did you hear this? Did you hear that? Did you hear the other thing? Quick, hide, run, take cover, hide, you're all going to die. Because probably the best gift my father ever gave me. Not money, not the bullshit world that has to offer you. Give me what God hands out for free. Embrace that and you'll be a happier person. Listening to me now, I don't sound too happy. Yeah, because I know when I get pissed off, when I see the salmon starts being depleted, wiped out off the face of the earth, the rivers being neglected, and the people at the top who's letting this happen point the finger at us, the people at the bottom with a rod in our hand, just out trying to have a hobby. No, they'd rather I was at home now. I'm off work. I took a week off work because I'm going fishing. They'd rather know I went to home, went to the pub, spent my money in pubs, looked at bullshit football at a lot of donkeys running around the field getting millions, kicking a ball, then watch some soaps and East Indies, Fair City, Coronation Street, all that fucking filthy tripe, backstabbing and ones going on with different husbands and husbands going on with ones and no one, and it's all normal supposed to be. It's a wonder why people's households are fucked up. Watch the footy, watch the TV, watch the fake news, listen to Fauci. This was going to be fantastic flood for both rivers. But look, there's not a lot of spring fish around. Even if it was back in the days, it'd be perfect for spring fishing. But there's not a lot of spring fish around these days. So you're only hoping that big floods might draw them up if there is anything down there. If the floating fucking factories didn't wipe every last one off the face of the earth. We all know who's doing it. The manufacturing nets, the illegal fishermen. And they're not fishermen, they shouldn't be called fishermen at all. They're out there in trawlers raping the sea. A fisherman holds a rod in his hand, that's a fisherman. They're not, that ship is the fisher. They're just deckhands on the ship that's raping and scraping the fucking ocean of everything and anything. Damn disgrace it is. Boils my blood. Now I have to try and get back to the positive. Alright, so I will. So I'm going to sit here anyway and a little look and hope for the best. I know we have to pale, they'll definitely come. There was only 2 fish got in Placid this year, 2 spring fish and 1 spring fish got in the cut. Back in the days, you get that'll be got in one day. Sometimes be 4 or 5 spring fish got in Placid in one day. Up here the average would be 2 or 3 spring fish in a day. Now it's none in about 4 or 5 years, and Placid, like I said, 2 and 1 in the cut, 3 in 6 weeks of spring fishing. There's not a whole lot you can fish there, you see. You can fish there, there's a big rock out there. So you have to fish in there, back to the height. So you have only a couple of metres of fishing. Now if you went to the far side, you can fish a worm, but you're not allowed to fish worms in here anymore. Boom! So I just met this chap from where's he from again, boy? Kilkenny, he's up here in Limerick trying to get him. He'll be waiting, trying to get him around here. Why is everything so complicated? These boots are made for walking.